Well, if you ever wonder why my car's so loud, I just pulled this out of it. Spent like 20 minutes pulling this out. This mesh goes around it, and then I believe there's used to be some sort of padding around it to help muffle the exhaust. But just over the years, look at that. It just rotted away to nothing. Got that out now. Made a mess myself, but at least it's finally out. But yeah, the car's basically straight piped at this point, with that being gone. What's going on, guys? In today's video, I want to take this off. Well, at least take the fender flare off. Last video, I showed you guys removing the door and how strong the flare is molded to the door. But I want to really see like how strong this thing is. I know there's two rivets and PL Premium and fiberglass holding this, but I'm not sure like really how strong it is. Like I know it's strong, but like it was shaking the car, but I want to see how strong it really is. Oh, this is still not coming off. Are you kidding me? I mean, I knew I did a lot of body filler, but I didn't think it was that much. Like, that's how much body filler I put on there. That's insane. That's the fiberglass. The brown, that's the PL Premium. So that's what's really holding it right now. Thanks again, neighbor. After watching all that, I can promise you, if you use my method, your flare ain't coming off. Like, I struggled on that for at least 10 minutes to get it off, and that was me using an angle grinder trying to cut it, and it was still not coming off. This is what we're kind of looking like when it came off, you know. I knew there was a bunch of body filler here just to kind of get that smooth, like, transition. Yeah, that's gonna come off. I gotta grind all this now, get it all smooth. Flip it over. All this PL Premium right here is what was really holding it. I believe there was a rivet here somewhere as well that was holding. No, actually, it looks like I drilled it out. So that means the thing that was struggling the most was the PL Premium. So I swear, this stuff works. Like, this was the hardest part to get off, and you could tell it was loaded. You'll see it's coated. All around here, it's coated in PL Premium. I use this as like waterproofing. So after I put the flare on, so I grinded all this down, put the flare on, I packed the backside full of PL Premium. So up here, yeah, it makes sense that there's so much because I just kept putting it up there, but I didn't realize it was going to hold it that well. I'm happy to see it didn't get any corrosion after the winter, so that's pretty cool. And if you look all down here, there's no corrosion. You can see that was the original paint, it looks like. Right here is where it got bad. Now, I believe what happened was this part right here of the flare, I think, was hitting the car, and it ended up breaking off and releasing, and then water was getting up. That, or from the hit, but I think it was from hitting the door. So the next time around, I'm going to have to be very careful with this. I'm hoping, when I put this back on, the new door, I'm hoping to put fiberglass running all the way. I don't know, the light's kind of bad right here. But fiberglass running all the way up. And I'm hoping that will keep moisture out. I'm hoping this time around, build it stronger, better. I mean, up here it was definitely strong enough. On the new door, it's gonna look something like that. If you can see that. It really sucks, but we'll get it fixed. Yeah, that's, this is so annoying. This was the good side too. Look what I just found. Look. I don't know if I filmed any of that, but I just found my old side skirt. Now, it's been off the car for like probably a month or two. Yeah, it's loud in here. It fell off the car. It was really snowy one day, and then it came off the car. I thought I was gonna wipe out the car. It came off. I didn't notice it for like a day. I drove by, I never saw it, but I guess all the snow was covering it up. But now that all the snow's gone, I just found it. So it's kind of funny. It's trashed. It's no good anymore, but it's cool to have. Yeah, so you can see this thing's trashed. Like, it probably got driven over a couple of times. Like, it's done. It is so done. Up there, it's cracked. So I'm not actually too sure if I really explained what happened to this thing, but basically, I want to say like 2 months ago, it was snowing really bad, and I started losing control of the car, trying to make a lane change, and the car started just kind of going back and forth, and I honestly thought I was going to wreck the car. I thought it was going to be written off, but I saved it. I got it back straight. Definitely slowed down and made a more easy turn, but I wasn't making a hard like lane change. It was very slow, but there was just so much snow on the road that it took over the car. But that's what forced me to get these white ones. Well, at least the white side skirt. And this thing was MIA for honestly about like 2 months, and then I just found it. So I thought that was kind of funny, and I wanted to share it. So once we clean up all the edges, I'm gonna have to do what I did before and line it all up. It is the same flare, so it should look pretty good when it's put on. I have to line this up before I glue it down, just to make sure all the body lines are still the same, and put more adhesive on it. But as it is right now, I am gonna have to be kind of careful making sure I get the right fitment, because I kind of did bend this up a bit trying to pry it off. I'm gonna have to persuade it to go on right, but I'm sure we could do it. Now that we have this all cleaned up, if you look, I went through, that's all fresh fiberglass that we're going to use to glue the PL Premium to. Get this thing lined up. We're going to glue this down, and then once this thing's fully hardened, we're actually going to sand all this down and get it flatter so there's less body filler, and then use actual fiberglass on this to help, I guess, hold strength. And before, if you thought this was strong, this makes this look like a joke. Like, it ain't going nowhere. So, trust my system. It works. I swear. So just trace it out. I really didn't do much. This is probably the best we're going to get. I'm more concerned with right here lining up and like this lining up. This is a little bit up right here. It could be a little bit deformed when I was trying to pull up on everything. So I might just have to come back and just kind of grind this down a little bit just to kind of get flush between here. But right now I am for sure knocking. Like, I can't go across smoothly. Here it's pretty good. Here it's pretty good. So I think this is how we're going to sit. I'm going to go ahead, take this off, grind all this down, and then we can get ready for PL Premium. It's probably a good idea to use a screwdriver for this part of this step, because you want to make sure everything's fine-tuned and the flare is exactly where you want it. Whereas the impact I'm using, it's too like either too much in, too much out, and I just can't kind of get it to line up right. So I'm gonna go through, fine-tune this, and then when I'm happy with it, I'm gonna make sure I get lots of PL Premium around everywhere. But I'm not gonna only use the PL for the strength. That's just gonna help kind of keep the flare in place. And then we're gonna go through and fiberglass everything to make sure it's really strong. Also, we are using drywall screws right now to hold the flare on. This is not permanent. These come out. This is just to kind of help hold the flare. I've tried rivets before, but rivets, it's either it's all the way or it's not enough. And especially right now with the flares having to line up perfectly, I don't want to use rivets just because it doesn't make any sense. They're a pain in the ass to get off and on. So I'm going to fine tune this, make sure I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to make sure all the gaps are full of PL Premium, get as much as I can in there just to kind of help. But afterwards, we are fiberglassing, so don't worry about it. I'm pretty happy up here. I don't think we're gonna get much closer. I think it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I have a huge gap here. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna fill a bunch of this up right here with PL Premium, kind of stuff it all in there. But we are gonna fiberglass this after just to give it more strength, because that is a huge gap. All we gotta do now is kind of just wait for this to dry. I normally let it sit for a day, probably wait for 2 days, because I do find sometimes it is a little bit still wet. Also don't recommend filling up this much of an area, just because, you know, the PL Premium, it does like to kind of droop and stuff and fall down like it's doing right there. So I gotta quickly clean that up. Also, I'm probably gonna cut a lot of this PL Premium out and fiberglass it. This is just kind of to help get the shape for right now. Yeah, you can see, look what it's done. I gotta clean this up. All right, that's gonna be it for a video. There's not really much else we can do while that dries. So until that's dry, I can't really do much else. So in the meantime, you can comment if you have any questions, like the video, and subscribe, because like I said, I ain't going nowhere. If you want to see more of this, you can keep up just by hitting the subscribe button. And as always, take it easy.